Hello and welcome to this video regarding some of the cinematics made for Hitman Season 1. My name is Bjorn Jacobson and I was one of the sound designers with IO Interactive in 2016 when we published this game. This specific cinematic here is called the Sniper Cinematic. It happens right after our Colorado level and it's about a sniper on a hilltop looking over the level. He sees the main character, Hitman, Agent 47 of the game, walking about the level. He's also on a phone connection to a woman called Olivia, and she is in London. Though the soundscape I put on top of her is one that I recorded in a very wet New York City, but that doesn't matter. It gets the job done. um, what we wanted with this cinematic was to have it quite detailed in regards to him handling his rifle and touching the scope. We also want his leather gloves or whatever he's wearing to stabilize his rifle to have this leathery sound whenever he's moving about. And let's have a listen.
Rose is gone.
It was me, wasn't it? They tracked me. I don't believe it. I took every precaution.
Rose knew the risks. They all do. You did well, Olivia. I am proud of you. Now listen. The ICA knows about you. They kept you alive because they needed you, and now...
So this cinematic here, we wanted it to be very clear that he was handling the rifle, like I said. And we can listen down here if we unmute the soundscape here. Yeah, as you can tell, there's a small click whenever he's zooming, whenever he's handling the rifle. Also, when the scope is out of vision, which is a point that we made to make it feel quite weird, quite real that he's touching the scope, as you see in the beginning of this whole thing. Yeah, and the point is that to mix and fit with Sony's EBU 128 standards, we have mixed it so that it's quite detailed and a little loud in the beginning, and then later everything is basically ducked apart from the dialogue, so that we can have this loud musical boom towards the end and still have headroom within the mix. That worked out quite well. The click of the rifle I made by having this here screwdriver, and you can just make it click. You can also make smaller clicks. The whole point is to record this and make sure that it fits in the timing of whenever he's touching the scope. Another thing we did was to have two pieces of plastic, duct tape them together, and that's the sound of the rifle whenever he's handling it. And then we had two normal pair of leather gloves, or it's a leather jacket, but that's the same, and just would tweak it so that it fits the sound of the leather he's moving about. And that's how it works.
They shot the woman and her family last. They made sure that we watched the whole thing. This is your gift, the warden told us. Your gift and your curse. Touching lives only by ending them.
There's a specific point to this exact click here when he lets go of the trigger here. This is made by a bottle that I had, which was quite greasy. It was quite greasy, and what we did was that we would put our finger on top of it and just let go, and it would make this very distinct metal click sound that we wanted specifically for when he lets go of the trigger. It's a very detailed, or it's a very unique detail that we really wanted to add to the rifle to make sure that it was quite clear that he straight up had the trigger ready to fire whenever he let go of his finger. And that's how we mixed that. There's another cinematic in the game, which is called the train cinematic, which is a situation where the character called the Constant comes into a train. He meets with Diana Burnwood, the handler, the so-called behind-the-scenes person of the game, communicating to Agent 47 all the time. And this is mixed in the same way, though we did want the train to be much clearer and much more open in terms of that this train is really moving. There's speed behind it and so on. And there's some very distinct lampposts that keeps passing the window. We wanted those to be quite detailed as well. But we still needed the dialogue to be extremely crisp and clear so that you can tell what they're saying. So let's have a look.
Miss Burnwood.
That's not what my ticket says.
We received your message. Loud and clear, I might add. Honestly, you could have just sacked the poor guy.
I didn't catch your name.
No, you didn't. There'll be no retaliation, not for Soders, nor any other recent fiascos.
So we wanted this train to be quite loud as they're moving about the train. And it's the same thing as with the previous cinematic. We have a 5:1 mix here, which is what I did, and then we have a mix of just the sound effects. And those are mainly just the footsteps, but then also Diana Burnwood touching her and handling her book. She's turning the pages and she's putting it down, things like that. Let's have a listen. And that's how it works. We put these together to make sure that the details of her fiddling with the book and him sitting down, things like that, are all quite crisp and clear. His handling of the paper that he draws up later gives to Diana. And the video is, of course, mixed as well so that if it was Sony's EBU standard. But this gave us a bit of difficulty in comparison to the previous Sniper cinematic, simply because they're in a train, and this is much louder, much more noisy environment. So we needed to bump a couple of volumes and be much more harsh on our sidechain compression to make sure that this worked. Let's have a look at the Sniper here. This is the mix window for the Sniper that I did. Everything, I think there are about 10 more tracks than you see here. They are put together into these 4 groups: the dialogue, ambience, and SFX and music. What's going on is that the dialogue here is ducking everything else. The sound effects are only ducking the ambience and the music, so that there is always total control of what plays when. Everything important plays whenever it needs to play, and there is headroom for it. The dialogue does also duck the sound effects if there is one at the same time. But that also means that once the sound effects are ducked, then it's only after that that the send is made to the ambience and the music to make sure that they don't duck double whenever dialogue and sound effects are playing at the same time. And that's that one. And let's see. Here's the train cinematic. It works exactly in the same way. There is about, up here you can see the groups. There's the video file. But this one doesn't really have an ambience group. We put that together with the music because we needed to individual control. It's just mixed in a different way. But the dialogue does duck everything, sound effects and the music, and the sound effects only ducks the music, so that we made sure that there was headroom for everything. The music, by the way, really well composed by Niels Bye Nielsen, our composer for Hitman Season 1. Is really well done. It's just music from the game that we decided to put into these, so they're not made deliberately for these videos, but it works. It gets the job done. As you can see, quite heavy EQ control, volume controls, and panning in regards to where things are. We used a small Xbox 360 controller just to joystick the volumes. And not the volumes, the EQs, and just make sure that things work correctly, and pan in regards to 5.1 when we were mixing those. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions in regards to these cinematics, just fire away either at my email b@cujo.dk or fire away in the comments field, and I'll be happy to answer. Have a good day.